Welcome to Three Girls, One Track, your go-to podcast for listening to two sisters and their cousin try and get into Formula One. We're here to break down the ins and outs of what happens on the track and especially what happens off of it. Listen in weekly to get your fill of F1 gossip, race outcomes, and which Lewis Hamilton Fashion Week outfit we thought was the hottest. Editor Afsa here. Just wanted to come in and say that we had a lot of technical difficulties this episode. So if you hear a lot of background noise, I cut out at certain points, I completely drop off the pod at the end. Please bear with us. We'll get it all back together next week. And we hope you enjoy listening.
We do.
Alrighty, well, I hit record because we've already started getting into the meat of the episode offline, which is the first rule of recording a podcast. Don't do that. So we can get right into it. We were yapping fashion. We all have some very interesting project runways and whatnot to wear. So would anybody like to go first with their project runways and whatnot to wear?
I can go first. I don't mind. So for my project runway, I'm going to begrudgingly give it to George Russell. I will say he kind of gets the default win this week just because there wasn't much fashion happening in Japan, which is kind of unfortunate because Japan is very much a fashionable country. But yeah,
it really is.
George kind of gives that like preppy chic, which most of the time doesn't work. But this week he had like this little green t-shirt and white pants, and it worked. It was cute. I don't have any like strong objections, and
it was a good look for him.
All it really took this
body
week.
tea.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know, the wet hair and the sunglasses. Maybe it's doing something. I don't know. But
I think
did you
he
say
ate a little
body? He's lanky. That poor thing.
I said body tea.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely body tea. But yeah, so yeah, he gets it. He did all right. He probably won't ever get it again, so I might as well give it to him this week.
Oh my god.
That's real. I think that's very real. I once saw a TikTok comment / video that I think embodies George's outfit perfectly. And it was actually a comment about George's girlfriend, which is it looked like those rich people who hunt other people for sport.
Oh my god.
And I feel like this outfit
Whoa.
If I can find the picture that made somebody say, listen, they hunt people for sport, I will. Yeah. But I feel like this outfit kind of serves a casual version of hunting for sport.
Please do. I need to see this. Oh my god. Okay.
And so for my what not to wear, I'm going to have to give it to Fernando Alonso. He kind of came in with like this lumberjack.
He looks like a lumberjack. That's exactly.
But it's like giving like dad, not quite dad bod, but like
it is.
I have 4 kids and I drive a minivan on the weekends type of vibe,
I don't think the hair is helping him much either.
Yeah, and those shoes, I hate those shoes.
No, I see who it is, but it's giving. I just came from the woods.
Not even that. Like it's giving like light lumberjack. Like I'm cosplaying as a lumberjack.
Oh my god!
Not actually giving lumberjack.
Oh my god!
So.
I tried to give the man a little credit.
Like a little puffer vest on with this like burnt orangey.
I like the colors.
Brown, like half zip or quarter zip with like a white undershirt. I think also the white undershirt peeking through that also. But yeah, it's not for me. But yeah.
I think my what not to wear this week has to be. I originally was going to say Lewis in that red vest. But upon further reflection, it's going to be Lando Norris. It's very boring. It's a very boring look, so that's thing number one. It's also his own merch, so I feel like he has more control over the aesthetic that it serves. And I feel like if you're going to do a Japan-themed hoodie with all that Japan has to offer, one, to make it black and purple is lame to me. I'm sorry. I think that's so lame. And two, like, it's not even cute, like, bubble letter styling. it's not even, it's like his same vibe, but just more angular. And I'm like, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Especially when Red Bull drops cute Japanese merch.
He looks like he's in between classes.
He's strolling across the
block. He looks like a teenager in between classes.
He looks like a kid,
you know?
like going like in. I don't say middle school. It looks like high school. He's walking. He just looks like a kid. Mom dropped him off, and he's walking to class.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I am not a fan of this.
It somehow made him look younger.
I'm not loving this personally. So,
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
He's my what not to wear. Lewis gets points for at least attempting to be fashionable.
Okay.
I actually like Lewis's look with that red vest. It's not like it doesn't jump out and scream. It doesn't jump out and scream like amazing. But I think it's really. I don't think it's as bad as y'all are thinking. And the reason I didn't choose that is because I'm trying to stay away from Lewis. Because I feel like he's been my project runway like basically every week since we started this. So I'm trying to steer away from him. But I actually like that outfit. Just wanted to give him the props that he actually deserves. Since y'all are hating.
Sure. I'm not a fan of that outfit. So my what not to wear is also Lando because he just looks like a kid. I'm so sorry. He looks like a child. But my project runway, I have to give it to Lewis in the all black.
It was a look.
I love that all black outfit. I think the bit of chest, the sunglasses, like I love it. I'm here for it. That was my project runway for this one because no one else serves literally anything. And I'm not giving it to George.
Somebody has to carry on the hater spirit.
Yeah, I'm surprised. This is like what our third or fourth GP. Lewis really hasn't given us like. Well, let me back. I would say hasn't given like a really strong look like Miami.
He's had looks, but like I don't think he's stunted yet.
No, like I'm actually see him at Miami. In Miami, I think that might be.
Miami could be a look. Miami should be a good look.
China.
He might.
But yeah, he just
also
looks
the problem
good.
with Lewis is that like,
well, no, because
Lewis could literally walk in a potato sack and we would be tempted to give him Project Runway. And he has come close. We were tempted.
He had that brown smock that he wore.
Leave his smock alone.
No, I think
which smock?
It was like
the sleeveless one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I wasn't a fan of it until I saw it with the shirt open. I was like, okay, I see I saw the vision when you sent me that.
Yeah, but
I saw the vision.
I can't wait to see Lewis truly try to serve something for the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't, like, no one's really just eaten yet.
But I wonder, because he used to, Law Roach used to be a stylist.
Oh.
He's suffering.
Like, and I'm just wondering if, like, Zendaya is basically Law's only client now. Like, he dabbled a couple times with
surely Law would make an exception for him. Boy, Law, come back.
Actually, listen, Law said forget all y'all.
He's like, I'm speaking with the girl who got me in. Or who, who I got here with. So,
yeah, I mean,
I'm clearly because
not Millie.
But no, I think that might also play into why he's just not eating like he used to.
I can definitely see that.
Because like even Law, like he and Law worked on that, like the Valentino ad that he had last year. Like Law was a big part of his fashion.
Plus, he ends up backing us up.
I hope it's not the end of an era.
It is. It's been the end of an era.
I feel like if Lewis isn't going to be beautifully styled, he needs to go full slutty to compensate. Because that's the only thing. That's the only thing going to say the looks. And it's like, the looks.
Oh my god!
You're gonna have to do the mesh.
So basically, you just need to walk out without a shirt on,
like the Tommy Hilfiger jacket with no shirt.
Open up the shirt. Do the mesh. You have to do a little something to make up for the lack of eatery. You have to do something to distract the girl from the fact that you're not eating as hard.
Something.
I mean,
or take some cues from
Joe.
He's eating.
Joe is eating.
A little Prada from the girls.
Joe?
I didn't see anything from Joe this week, but he's always eating.
Because he may have kept it real simple, I'm assuming, if
a
he
lot
hadn't
of
seen anything.
a lot at this GP, a lot of them were just wearing.
Well, it was cold.
They are
what
on
I
jackets.
Read. A lot of them were wearing their team gear.
Yeah, I read it was. It got cold. Like surprisingly, it got cold. Like it wasn't supposed to be, or something like that.
Damn. So sad for my boy.
Interesting.
But all right, Felicia, do we have a cocktail of the week?
We do. So we are in Japan. Therefore, we are talking what? Sake. So sake, for those of you who do not know or who've never heard of it, it's basically Japanese rice wine. It's really, really good. It's very, very light. I have made what is called a Japanese mule. So it's just a nice shot. So 1.5 ounces of sake, and you top it off with a little ginger beer. It's a nice little twist to a Moscow mule. Just took it to Japan.
I want the audience to know that Felicia has been sipping on this sake almost as if it was water, and I was getting very confused.
Yeah.
So I was like, why does that water look so weird? I know the answer.
That's crazy. It's sake. It's sake.
Ew.
That is
Lenny. That
is Lenny in the background.
I know what that
He's
is.
very upset that I'm not giving him my undivided attention.
So sorry, Lenny, but we have to steal her
podcast. He's so cute.
Yes.
All right. So as far as F1 news goes this week, I would like to talk mostly about Carlos Sainz. Yeah, we all know what I'm talking about, but that's fine. We're going to talk a little bit about Carlos Sainz. The first thing I would like to point out is, obviously, as you know, Carlos had some pretty good performances throughout the year. Good first race, appendix thing, and then won a race. And so that has caused us to be flooded in the F1 media space with article after article after article after article.
I know.
About how we were all underrating Carlos, and he's the next big thing.
Yeah.
And had Schumacher, come back and put some of his body energy into Carlos. And no, he's having a good season, as he should. You should be having a good season. You get paid to have a good season. So part of this is just me being annoyed that I literally have been bogged with articles. They gave him, for that race win, they do power rankings every race. They gave him a 10 out of 10 for that race that he won.
What?
Max did a grand slam where he led every lap, he got pole, and he got fastest lap. And they still did not give that man a 10. They almost never give Max a 10.
Damn.
Or anybody a 10. And they're like, oh, you won because your teammate couldn't drive and your other main competition blew up their car. 10. Like, I always say this. If people who like Carlos were more realistic about it, I wouldn't be as annoyed. He's a great driver. He's a really, really good driver. He is not the second coming of Christ, and I don't know why I'm being forced to act like Christ has descended before me and stepped into a race car.
Oh my God. I feel like people feel. I love this. I feel like people are getting
they're sorry for him. This is.
They feel like he deserves, like, because right now, like, to be honest, he doesn't have a spot next year.
We'll talk about that.
And so,
he's like a free agent, isn't he?
I feel like people in F1 want to make sure he has a sport, and I feel like it's very much like propping him up. I don't know, like, because I had been inundated with Carlos Sainz. Like, even when I was on YouTube, and one of the first videos that popped up was like this ESPN video about Carlos Sainz, and I was like, oh wow, like, I don't know, I haven't seen anyone talk about Carlos Sainz in this much in the past few years that I've been watching F1. It does seem like the narrative behind him has changed tremendously this year. But yeah, it definitely feels like, I don't know, maybe just people feeling sorry for him. I mean, I do feel sorry for him because I feel like he's a good enough driver where he should feel secure that
where he is.
Like, well, not necessarily secure, but secure that he'll have a spot next year, and that's not necessarily the truth.
Yeah,
He may not have a spot next year, and that's just.
But I just wish they'd stop acting like.
Yeah, I get it.
I said, like the second coming of Christ decided to drive the Ferrari.
I mean, do you guys see anyone
talk about
picking
that in
up
a second,
Carlos for
actually.
next year? Oh, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
But no, like I feel like he's good. No, Carlos Sainz. Nothing about him screams great.
I feel the same way about Carlos Sainz about George.
Well,
Yeah.
And Lando. I put Carlos versus Lando in the same category. Where do they fall in there? That's between somebody else.
I would put
Carlos
Carlos
at the top
above
of that category.
George.
But it's the same good, not
no,
great.
Lando maybe.
Like, if you stopped trying to tell me that they are future 7-time world champions, maybe I'd like them more. Maybe I'd like them more if we were just like, oh.
Who's saying Sainz is going to be a 7-time world champion?
I can't believe they took Hamilton instead of Sainz. I think they're regretting their choice now. Like, bro.
Well, I did see that. I did see that.
Has 3 race wins. He needs 100 more to catch up. Like, nobody's forgetting anything.
Like, I don't see Carlos Sainz winning a championship. Not unless something like crazy happened in the season, but I don't see Carlos winning. Ever winning a championship.
But
no.
I just feel like, me personally, like I said, if we were all a little bit more realistic, maybe I'd like them more. But here we are, with people playing in my face on the internet on a daily basis. And so I simply can't do it. I simply cannot do it.
Yeah. No, I don't think you should be. You should have to.
Speaking of where Carlos is going, it is rumored, and I had to translate this in a tweet, so who knows? Yeah. It is rumored that the same source that reported Lewis to Ferrari is reporting Carlos to Mercedes. So, Carlos might in Mercedes. Yeah.
So a little.
I think if Mercedes can't find anyone better, that makes sense.
I just like.
Because
yeah,
he's a good driver.
Your whole team for Kimi Antonelli to then go sign Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, not that look, I think Carlos would be a better choice than Kimi Antonelli. Just the fact that Carlos has driven this generation of F1 far. But I just think it's very interesting.
I could see him. I don't know. Mercedes. To be honest, like I don't really wish Mercedes on any of the drivers, except maybe like George or something. Like, but like, no, like Mercedes is going down in flames, and like
it is.
I actually like I'm not as a strong disliker of Carlos Sainz like you are, but yeah, like I actually do want him to succeed. I know he has a feeling on that success, and I just feel like Mercedes. If I were him, I'd try and fight somewhere else.
Maybe I'll like him more when he's alone against George. Maybe I'll like one of them more when it's them being compared, and not one of them being compared to them. So that's also what annoys me.
That could be.
And Lord,
not one of your what?
So they should get the
what is that? No, what is that?
You can't explain Blorbo. I don't know how to explain it to you. Going back to my home, my peeps I stand.
So
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Continue.
But that's so old.
Shut up.
But yeah, I just maybe I'll like them better when they're being compared to each other. I thought another thing that really ends up being really about George and Carlos is that it's like everybody who actually knows about F1, like the other drivers, the team principals, the advisors, they all rate Lewis and Charles so highly that to then watch plebeians be like, well, obvious, Carlos and George are better. And I'm like, you don't know anything! The people who know things literally are sitting there being like, oh, I'm glad Charles didn't qualify well, because if he did, we'd be cooked. Like,
well, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard them say that, like saying that
Oh,
George
yeah,
is
you're
better.
But you're not on the internet enough. You're not on the internet enough.
I know.
Wait, they're saying George is better than Lewis?
Frequently. Oh, he's washed. George is the blah, 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 blah. Bro, fuck out of here.
Interesting. Okay. Get him out that Mercedes and see what happens.
So, I get frequently annoyed by that kind of thing.
That's fascinating. Like, I don't consider myself an expert in F1. I consider myself like general knowledge of F1. And I feel like that is a take.
He's a take.
That is a very interesting take.
I literally fought somebody on Twitter last month. Tooth and nail.
Now, honey, why are you still fighting people on Twitter?
It's a pastime. It's a pastime.
Okay. I thought pastimes were supposed to be a way to relax.
Right? I will say that F1 fandom, from when I first started, for me, I like to go in and do my searches. F1 Reddit is a very dark space for a bunch of weirdos and people who actually think that they could drive better than half of the grid.
So, there are 20 people in the world who can drive these cars properly.
If we should take a spin around F1 Reddit, and you'd be gobsmacked at some of the takes that they have in there. It's fascinating.
I feel like I don't want to subject myself to this.
Right. Yeah, and you have...
I think that's like a dark place.
Yeah, don't do it. Because you think it takes like George Russell is a better driver
than Lewis. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really
George.
Pulling out lap times.
All the people on the grid.
No, Asa. And some of them, like, they just feel like... No, I will say, like, take like a very quick glance through it, especially around like a race weekend. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll think about it.
See don't take too long.
I probably won't. If I'm hearing blasphemy like that.
All right.
Anyway,
it's
what other team you got for us?
Filled week. I can't remember if I mentioned this last pod, so I'm gonna add it as my closing tea point. That there is a chance that if Daniel Ricciardo does not improve his performances, that he will be getting swapped for Liam Lawson in the coming races. That is all rumor. That is all conjecture. There's literally no factor behind that statement. But just in case it does happen, I do want us to have it on the pod. And we'll talk a little bit more about Daniel.
How do y'all feel? Okay, we're gonna talk about that. But how do y'all feel about that?
I think that's great.
I feel great about it.
My God!
I think we may have talked about this. I feel like
I feel like we did.
I feel like I remember saying something like along the lines of Daniel Ricciardo is like the personality hire.
Yes,
he's not this skilled driver that people once thought he was.
I will say this. So I told you I was rewatching Drive to Survive, right? I see why people liked him then, but I'm a little confused as to why people like him as much as they did then still now.
What you thought?
That's a hard fall from grace, though.
Like, I think Daniel's personality works really well when you are doing well. Like, you're a jovial front runner.
Yes.
You're all this stuff. Exactly.
People want to root for you.
At some point, you can't be a personality hire when there's so many other good personalities. That's the whole thing about being a personality hire, is that everybody else is a skill hire.
Wow.
And you're bringing extra personality. Now, like, most of the drivers on the grid, even the ones people don't necessarily like, they're serving personality. Like people don't like
They've been
Max.
Trained.
If you watch any Red Bull video, Max is objectively the funniest person you meet. Like, all of them have personality to serve. You can't just be a personality hire anymore. And then also, when all of the people who could take your seat also have big personality, that's when it starts to take you out. Because like Liam Lawson is funny, charismatic, like he is everything to them. So like you can't ride the personality argument or boat anymore because your competition also in the great originality.
I mean, I will say that I don't know much about Liam Lawson, but I do know Daniel Ricciardo, and I do know I don't want to watch him anymore.
Oh my god!
Like no, but to be honest, like, and I've kind of said this a couple of times, like I'm getting tired of the people on the grid. No offense, I mean that in like it's like a weird way to say this, but like I want to see these younger drivers. I want to see them. I want to see new talent because I feel like that's also why to me it feels a little stagnant. Like there's nothing interesting. You don't have these. Everyone kind of knows their role and kind of safely falls into it. You know, I feel like
I kind of see what you mean.
When you have like, what was the race? Who jumped in for Carlos when he was up? Yes, there you go.
Ollie, yeah.
I thought that was a great story, and I would have loved to see more of Ollie. And I personally feel like there are people on the grid right now who aren't that good, who can easily give their seat up to someone, to some of these younger drivers who have a little bit more something in them. And I just feel like, and also just to bring a new type of skill set to the grid. Daniel Ricciardo he's not obviously he's not a horrible driver, but he's not top 20. He's like, he's like the worst of the middle, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I feel like teams don't want rookies these days. Nobody wants to work these days. They don't, but like for real, they don't want to have somebody who's going around crashing their car every single weekend. And that's part of being a rookie.
Yeah.
Logan Sargent, the rhetoric around Logan Sargent was driving the way rookies drive. That's how they drive. They are crash prone, they are accident prone, they tend to like cost you a lot of money in damages, and I get it. You know, the teams that hire rookies also generally are teams that don't have the money to afford a rookie crashing every weekend. But like, at some point, if you want fresh blood, you're gonna have to either figure out your development stream so that you're getting rookies who have enough time in an F1 car that they're not going to like crash it out when they try to go fast. Or you got to figure out how to up your funding pool so you can spend enough money to cover all of the crashes. A la Williams. Like,
something.
And I know a lot of these teams, like, you know, obviously at the beginning of the season, like, F1 basically said, like, Andretti made the bid to join F1 as a new team. They said no.
I just feel like enough to the sport to offset the effort it would take to bring them in.
To be honest, a lot of these teams, they don't want to split more money. Because basically, they're what, 10 ways now?
Yeah.
They have to split it 11 ways, basically. But so I guess the argument was that basically they wouldn't bring in enough money to like really basically cover the extra split, I guess.
They wouldn't kind of like bring their weights worth in.
And I think they're literally building an F1 I don't know. Maybe they have a fully functional like facility ready to build F1 cars are in Silverstone. So I think that's also the other really annoying thing. It's like, okay, so we're saying that they aren't capable of actually bringing enough to the table. But Haas is? Haas is bringing anything to the table? Like, Williams is historical, but
Williams, I was about to say, Williams, all I bring is like the history and the name.
That Andretti cannot bring? And the answer is very little.
Or what's the other one? Yeah, I don't know. I just personally feel that F1 needs to kind of get out of its own way right now and really think of the sport as a whole and just make, encourage a little shaking up of the grid, not tampering.
I wouldn't mind seeing the grid shaken up a little. Ollie, like the whole like Ollie storyline definitely was like a little kickstart at the top of the season, but I'd like to see more of that. But we'll see.
We won't see because it's not going to happen.
Okay, you never know what would happen. You never know what's gonna happen.
I would love. Never mind. I'm about to say I would love. I shouldn't say that. I would be intrigued if we saw between this year and next a couple more shakeups.
I'd like to see some.
Like, I don't want to see just. I
want to see some real F1 drama, not just hear about the drama that passed. I want to see it as it happens.
Yeah, I don't want to see just like a driver for driver switch. I don't want to see just Lewis goes to Ferrari.
I think it'd be interesting.
Carlos goes to Mercedes. You know,
like 12 of them are out of contract.
Yeah. Hey, Af, I don't know where you are, but there's like it sounds like you're in a tunnel.
Can you hear me better
almost.
now? Oh, weird. Okay, I didn't move one of my mics, so I guess just permanently move it closer. I shifted like an inch, so weird. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
I think about 12 of them are out of contract. This upcoming year. There's a number, and it's
12
high.
of them.
I believe so, 12 of them.
Because a lot of them came. A lot of them came in around the same time,
we
right?
had the show and Logan came in at the same time. And then I'm trying to go through. Red Bull seats are filled. There's one Mercedes seat to fill. Ferrari seats are filled. McLaren seats are filled. I think everybody else's contracts are up in the air. Other than that.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
You know, it's going to be exciting to
one
see,
player
though.
that, like, I don't really want to say this because I actually like the driver. I keep saying player. Sorry. The driver that Valtteri.
What about him?
He's kind of coasting.
I mean,
coasting at the bottom, and I'm like, I really liked you. I really have enjoyed what you've brought, but you can go.
Cleone, you just want to like wipe the grid and start over.
Yeah.
Bex, you just want to wipe the grid and start over.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at doing that.
That's
I really
funny.
wouldn't be.
I mean,
but anyway, sorry, that was just like a random thought. I just was thinking of like people I'm ready.
I think that's real. I think it's hard when it's like, you know, that they could do other bigger, better things if they just same people over and over.
Valtteri, it's crazy to me. Like, Valtteri was like someone who's consistently winning races or runner-up behind Lewis or third behind Lewis and Max. He was consistent. And now he's just like, if I come in last or, you know, second to last or third to last.
Has something changed since then? How long ago was that?
Yeah, he's driving for whatever that team's name is.
He's driving for Kick Sauber, which admittedly is a tracker. So, like...
There you go, Kick Sauber.
Well, they don't blame you for the bad results. However, like, I don't feel like he's maximizing. And listen, I don't even necessarily think every single person on the grid has to maximize every single time. But I would like to see a little bit of maximizing. Just a tad bit of max. That's okay.
Anyway, I'm rambling.
You and your ramblings. I'm here.
Appreciate
it. So we can get into the Japanese Grand Prix this weekend. The first Grand Prix we held in Japan was in 1987. This year we're holding it at the Suzuka International Racing Course, 53 laps, a circuit length of 5.8 kilometers. I don't have the miles in front of me, so you can't ask. And the current lap record is held by Lewis in 2019, and it's 1 minute 30 seconds, 0.983. It is very, like, twisty, turny. It's actually a figure 8. So there's like a crossover point, and right in the middle, just super cool. That's also where the DRS detection zone is right in that middle part. There's only one like actual straight on this whole track, which is crazy. And Suzuka is also famously known for a couple of things. Those little S's, towards the beginning of the track when it'll happen to that point, those are the S's. As well as the fact that it normally rains at Suzuka. So this year they moved it to this time of year to try and avoid the rain, which was actually very successful. And yeah, I liked seeing. I've never witnessed a dry race at Suzuka. So this is great.
Oh.
I was actually gonna mention. I used to always think, and I'm glad you mentioned it. I was like, oh, Japan. I remember Japan being later in the year, and I just thought maybe I recalled it wrong. So I'm glad you pointed out that they switched. They switched.
They
the
did,
schedule.
which
They switched
also
it
allows
earlier
you
in
to
the
do it
schedule.
during cherry blossom season, which I think is super cool. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think it helped a lot of the branding also be really cool because like it's very pretty. And
It
of
was
course,
really
it
pretty.
cannot go without mentioning that Suzuka is Yuki's home race. And we got some Yuki points this race. Woo, woo, woo.
We did. I was proud
very
of
happy
Yuki
about
this
it.
race. We'll talk about it.
All right. Before we jump in, Felicia, any pressing F1 or Suzuka question?
Yes. So, real quick, like when you look at it, that crossover point, I missed it completely during the
so you
race.
know how
How
on
the
the
heck does that
highway,
work?
there's the part of the overlap. There's a over. It's an overpass.
Oh, there's an overpass?
Yeah.
Oh, how did
they
I not
rarely
notice that?
show
Okay,
the
anyway,
overpass
but
from
yes.
a wide enough lens that you would notice that it's an overpass. Because I too,
because I was looking at the thing, I'm like, I don't understand how this
like
works.
the first couple times I watched it was like I don't get it, and then eventually I watched one where it like actually showed it at a wide angle, and it's just an overpass.
Now let's actually talk about the race though, because I have some comments.
have a question.
Oh,
But it goes. I guess it can tie into the race. I struggle, and I think we've had this discussion before. A lot of the strategy in Suzuka had to deal with tires. So, can you, for my own memory, can you go over the difference between hard, medium,
so hard,
and
medium, and soft are different compounds of tires. Currently with the F1 tire system, there's actually a range of, I believe, 5, although they may have added a 6th one in, of tires that Pirelli, the tire supplier, could choose from. So what Pirelli knows is they analyze the races, what the temperature is going to be, the expected degradation, and they choose a range of 3 tires. The hardest of those 3 tires will be called hard. The middle of those 3 tires will be called medium. The softest of the 3 tires will be called soft. So soft at one race could be a C, let's say 0. Don't cancel me if I got the numbers wrong. The softest at one race could be a C0, and then the next race could be a C3.
Oh, so the actual hard, medium, soft changes per race.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That I did not know. So what is it about Suzuka that makes the tires so
any track where there is high tire degradation is going to require you to, one, use more tires. And it also means that like while you're racing, if deg is higher than even expected and it was already going to be high, you start to like get into territory where you're going to have pretty complicated, like, oh my gosh, okay, we're planning to do a 2-stop, but deg is so much higher that like we'd have to go an additional 10 laps beyond what's probably good on this tire, right? And so that's when you start to get into like, okay, well, a 3-stop's just not out of like in question. So now we have people with bad tires racing on the track, and that's the whole thing. Dangerous and also just like not good for your race results.
Well, yeah, that too. But okay, also, is degradation so high because it's so windy?
Whenever you're putting a lot of power and heat through the brakes, that's where you're going to get some good tire degradation. So like you said, when it's really windy, you have to use your brakes more, you have to use your tires more. And so that can contribute to being a high deg race.
Gotcha.
If it's a traditionally hot circuit, that will also contribute to it being a high deg race, just because heat does impact like the speed with which your tires get used up. And then to answer your question, Bex, the hard tire, medium tire, and soft tire, for our purposes, is a matter of durability. So the more durable a tire is, the slower it is, and the less durable a tire is, the more grip it provides, which then allows you to be faster at the end of the day.
But I'm guessing
Yep,
soft
so
tires
soft
are
tires
going to
get
get
ripped up really
ripped up
quickly. Especially a
real
high dem
easy.
track, you'll see that sometimes if you start on soft tires, you're changing tires at like lap 9, right? Like
Real quick.
absurdly early.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's kind of where we stand. And it's like if you get a soft, grippy, soft tire, like that might do good for you in the moment. But how things are going to go, like, now that you have to stop super early, is questionable. And then, like, Pirelli puts out tire strategies before every race. And so you generally have a pretty good idea of when a team is, like, using a tire strategy that makes sense. Like, oftentimes when you see people slandering Ferrari for their tire strategies, part of it had to do with the fact that when Pirelli was putting out the tire strategies, they were like, hey, this is the best way to go about this. And then you looked at what Ferrari's doing, you're like, that's not that. Yeah. So that's oftentimes why you'll see some fans be like, oh, this is stupid, against the law. And it's not because they're necessarily tire experts themselves. It's because the tire experts put out before the race what a good tire would be. And especially if you see them completely like neglect a tire in their tire strategies, right? Oftentimes Pirelli will like put together a tire strategy and then like there will be no hard tire or no medium tire. And so when you see a team pull it out, you're like, girl, what? Well, the people who made the tire said you shouldn't use that tire.
It's interesting when you have like the entire grid and then one team just decides to like put the drivers on soft.
You mean like Lewis and George for this race?
But I thought
starting on the hard,
semi-effective.
Other notable thing is that the teams are allocated a certain amount of tires per driver, so that will also screw them over per race.
Per race
or per? So let's say that like, you're going through practice and quali and all that. You use up a ton of your soft tires, and the best strategy would be a 2-stopper that goes like soft, hard, soft, and you only have one soft tire. Well, you can't do soft, hard, soft then. So now you have to figure something out.
Yeah.
So they give you something medium, like that, right? And so you end up falling into a situation where you gotta figure some stuff out that you probably didn't want to have to figure out.
Jesus.
I'm not fully in the know when it comes to like the strategies, but I felt like Mercedes did all right, even though they were kind of like the odd man out at the beginning of the race.
Fine.
Obviously the car's slow as crap, so it didn't really matter what tires they had on.
What is with their car? What is actually with their car? Because Lewis literally said, do you want me to let him pass?
In my mind, there's only 2 reasons that Lewis said that, and I guess we can just get straight into the race. I personally didn't find qualifying that intriguing this week. I thought it was pretty. It was pretty straightforward.
I feel like
I didn't watch it.
Nothing too great.
Okay.
But I feel like there's 2 reasons that Lewis said that. One, they were on different strategies. So like if you're on different strategies and you know that like you and your teammate are not fighting for the same position, like you will oftentimes like you're gonna be like, okay, go on, get on my way so I can get back to having clean air and not worrying about somebody behind me. And also, quite frankly, if you look at like Lewis's post-race interviews, his pre-race interviews, I think homeboy is dreaming about his Maranello
He's
villa,
over it.
The street with his name on it.
He's over it.
He's wait.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's
and honestly
engaged.
No, Lewis is in red.
Every time I engage with you, it goes poorly. I'm literally not dealing with y'all. Like, you want me to let George pass? I'll let George pass.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it seems like he's.
I thought that was hilarious.
Like he seems like he's resigned. He's like, whatever. I'm just doing the best I can with what
honestly,
I got.
You're not gonna have to deal with this death trap for more than like a couple more months. Like honestly, he's our unbothered king. We should all strive to be when we quit our job.
Yeah.
That's who we should all strive to be. Unbothered like King Louis.
Okay.
Don't let them get typecast. Let
Free
on the way out. You just
exactly.
put your head down.
Work,
you got to do.
Check. Go.
Don't ruffle any.
And you get that PTO paid out.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Get your PTO paid out, baby.
PTO paid out.
All right. I know what thing I want to talk about from this race, and I feel it's pretty obvious. Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon.
I feel like, and I love Alex, so this is not Alex slander in what I'm about to say, but I feel like with all the narratives going on, with the whole Daniel being washed thing, with the whole Williams only having one chassis and like preferring Alex, which once again I agree was the sensible decision, so no slander. I think the two of them crashing in the beginning is quite possibly one of the funniest turns of fate I've ever seen in my life. Oh, we don't have another chassis. We're gonna, Alex is the one that's more likely to get points. Crashes in the first lap. Daniel's supposed to be the leader of the team. He's gonna show Yuki what's what this season. Absolutely, just burn it.
No, when I first saw, I was watching, I was like, at first I didn't realize who crashed, and I was just, and then they showed the replay, and it wasn't really
Daniel went a bit wide, but like also. It's the first lap.
Yeah, they just touched each other. Yeah, it was the first turn of the first.
So this is
lap.
not even Daniel slander either. I just think he's genuinely not washed for this.
Yeah, and it just seemed like kind of, I don't know the word, fate-ish. That would be those two who just sort of had, both those teams have kind of had a lot of speculation going on and rumors and issues going on, and it's just like, of course, Daniel, the week that says you have to go out and get the results, you crashed out in the first lap. And Alex, I like Alex. That's another one, but I like Alex. Again, it was just sort of like Williams barely has enough parts to make it to race.
Yeah,
and there you
it's
go.
It's just unfortunate.
Out.
It's like, what are we really doing here? Like, what are we coming for here? I don't get it.
I guess. But isn't Suzuka? Isn't that one of the races where there's a lot? Usually, like the first lap, there's quite a few crashes.
That's actually a good question.
Or am I thinking it's another?
I feel like they're all quite crash prone on the first lap, just because you're so close together. Like, it's natural to have that sort of thing happen. So I wouldn't even call it the Suzuka thing. I just think it's a first lap thing.
The first lap.
They're all bunched together. They're going downhill, which is like an unusual race start. So like, I was expected.
Yeah. Question. If they say they have like a crash during the first lap, do they always restart?
They only restart if they can, if they don't believe that they can get whatever was harmed in that crash fixed quickly. So, for example, if they had lightly tapped the barriers, no problem. They probably would have done a quick safety car, but they slammed them. They had to completely redo that section. So, oftentimes I did literally fix a barrier, like literally.
That's why it took them like half an hour, I think it said, right?
That's what'll happen, is they gotta like fix all of that, and so it'll take a little bit longer, as opposed to doing something more simple, like just moving a car.
Oh, another thing. So I was on, I think it was TikTok or Instagram, one of those. I saw that, do they really just like, when there's enough of a gap, let people just run out and pick stuff up off the track?
Fans storm the track every single race.
No. I'm not talking about fans.
Yeah.
So what it was?
Yeah. The race like volunteers go out and pick debris off the track. Yes.
While the race is going on.
Generally, you'll see that during like a safety car. something to like reduce their speed a little bit. But yeah, if there's like a decent enough gap,
because I'm like, let someone catch enough speed and surprise somebody.
Generally, they do it when there's a decent enough gap.
We're going like you're just down like around the turn.
Yeah.
Anyway,
generally, they figure out a way to get it done.
No, I mean, I thought they were like, oh, and the stewards have the go ahead or whatever. But I was like, that's a lot. You gonna send me onto a track?
I also have always been a little bit scared by the like,
because what if someone trips? What if someone trips? What are we gonna do?
I would hope they would hurry. I would hope that they would hurry up and get back.
Well, no, say like they trip and they hurt themselves, and then it's like, oh, I need to help them. I need to. Come on now.
Like, calm down.
That's all I could think of. That's all I could think when I saw that.
Yeah, you're overthinking it though. Sorry.
Oh well, because I'd trip.
No, I think overall it was a fairly interesting race. I was actually, I mean, because obviously Max won. No need to actually state the obvious, but I found that the like tire strategy was actually something that kind of kept me engaged.
AFSA back again. This marks the point where I temporarily disconnect, and we do get a little bit loud from here on, so headphone users just dropping a warning in there for you guys. So I would turn down the volume for a couple minutes.
Welcome back! Yeah. Lenny hopped onto my laptop and turned it to airplane mode. And so at first I thought you guys were cutting out. And then I look up at my laptop. I see Lenny crawling all over it. I'm having to bat him away.
Oh my god.
That man is so annoying. Oh my god.
Not you calling a cat Batman.
He is. He's a grown man who knew what he was doing.
Oh my god.
I was trying to say
and now he's back again. Get off!
He's back again. He's terrorizing me for no reason.
Oh my god.
He's evil.
Give him a toy or something.
No, he literally just wants attention. He has so many toys out. He just wants to be in here with me.
Oops, I'm picking up my scan.
Yeah, sorry. Let's get back to the race after
he just
I
wants
was
to
so
be loved.
rudely interrupted.
He just wants to be loved.
I love him, but
basically saying that, even though like Max won, it was obvious, no surprises there. I actually found that the race wasn't as boring because I found the tire strategy to be quite fascinating, and it kind of kept me engaged, up to a certain point. But
I was trying to understand the tire strategy, so that definitely actually helped me a lot because I had no clue what was happening.
So and so's on medium or hard. Oh, so and so's going to go into the pit, and I was like, are they going to lose position? Oh no!
Oh, Russell coming out the pit and getting that that violation or fine. Well, they did fine him. They fined Mercedes for that.
Oh, for his unsafe release or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Generally, they'll do an unsafe release, like, fine, because, the driver can't really do it about that.
No. But I was like, interesting.
Yeah, it can't be.
Oh, they fined them 5,000 pounds.
Oh, yeah, they also find them, like, inconsequential amounts of money, so, like, it's really a non.
That's like finding me $20.
Yeah.
Maybe even $5. But anyway, yeah, it was a good race for the most part. Again, nothing crazy, but still interesting.
Yeah, what? Daniel and Alex crashed. Did anything else super crazy and pressing happen? I don't think so.
At one point, like, I saw that, like, Max was like 16 or 18 seconds ahead.
Like that.
I was like,
Oh, yeah.
this is getting ridiculous. People, you should, if nothing else, just be shamed. The man is so much better and his car's so much faster.
For real. Like, at some point I have to ask. Like, obviously, everybody, and I sympathize with all the non-Max fans, all the non-Red Bull fans, I sympathize with. At some point we have to ask, why can't the other teams get good? That's like where I'm, like, a lot of people complain that Red Bull, like, is just too good, and I'm like, and why aren't y'all good enough?
Yeah, and like, do they have some secret formula? Are y'all plugged in and you just, you want the secret recipe for the Krabby Patty and y'all just can't get your hands on it? I don't understand. That was a horrible analogy. Lord.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Red Bull having this kind of domination that I did when Mercedes had it, which was, why were they able to do what you couldn't do?
But I also feel
that's the question you need to ask yourself, because it's not like random.
Why has Mercedes fallen off so quickly, and how has Red Bull gotten so much better?
So it is rumored, and by rumored I mean rumors are really loose words, because I'm pretty sure it's like all but fact, that this bout of regulations was really intended to work against Mercedes' development style and car style, and be more in favor of other teams. So it's not surprising,
because they had been dominating for so long.
Yeah. So it's not surprising that Mercedes is not like, kicking it with the big dogs. But
to have such a fall from grace,
exactly, for it to be so shit is like kind of insane, actually.
And I'm also wondering too, why are there regulations in place for like, what is it, like 4 years, 5 years? I can't remember what.
It's like 4 years. It's 2022 to 2025.
Like, I don't understand, like, why can't it just be like on a year-to-year basis, or like something? Because I just feel like maybe just me, like, maybe because like I watch so many other sports and you see, well, no, actually I take that back, because like even like when you have like NBA and basketball, like they do have like CBAs that
isn't the NBA basketball?
Yes, Felicia.
I'm just saying, you said it like it was two different things, not me.
No, but whatever. Anyway, but like the NBA, like they have CBA that's like, like 10 years, whatever. But teams, you still have a fluctuation of like good teams, bad teams, teams getting better, teams, whatever. You have like, your cost cap and things like that. F1 is so weird to me because it's so just like, you have a team that's good under these regulations, and then they make changes to try and even the grid, and then you just have another team that rises to dominance and everyone else falls. Like, you don't want to have any type of fluidity, so like you can have, I don't know, maybe God forbid, a Haas that's competing.
Well, for Haas to compete, they'd have to start spending some money.
Well,
but I don't know. I just feel like because like aren't these current regulations in place until 2026?
Yeah. Because also when
Mercedes is gonna be shit until 2026.
Well, in theory, they could get better.
They could get better, but
like Red Bull was not that good at the beginning of the regulations, or Max won in the last year, and they weren't that good. And then by 2021, they built a car that was like competitive with, if not slightly faster, than Mercedes.
And
so like in theory, the thing is, and I think if Mercedes had not had this crackhead idea that they were God's gift to motors, and that they figured everything in the world out, and we know how to play physics and aerodynamics, and we don't need side pods and blah blah blah, they wasted 2 years. So they probably will do shit until 2026. Because they just started with a concept that actually made aerodynamic sense. Maybe they would have been caught up by now. Or at least they would have been like where Ferrari and McLaren are. Where it's like, oh, if Max messes up, we can win. I'm not even confident to say that if Max and Checo both crash out in the race, Mercedes could win. I don't think they could.
They wouldn't.
Really?
I think Ferrari or McLaren are taking it every single time.
That's so unfortunate.
For real, I definitely.
That's so unfortunate.
And I also find that too, like, Mercedes car is just so open up and down. Like, even just like practice and qualifying in the race, like you can have 3 completely different cars.
Yeah, like Lewis will go first in FP3. Like cook everybody. You get to qualifying, and he can't even trundle around the track. And so it's like, what are you doing?
Aren't they the ones who had both their seats break? Isn't Mercedes the one where both of their seats broke?
Oh yeah, I forgot that Lewis's seat broke.
I forgot.
Was it just Lewis or was it both of them?
I thought it was just Lewis because only
Either
bad things happen to
either
Lewis.
way, the seat breaking period is bad.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like, what kind of Lego pieces are you clamping together that you have broken seats?
No, but it sucks.
Well,
Last year, Lewis got pole, and everyone's like, "Is Mercedes back?" And then he like
and the race
buttered around the track during the race.
Yeah, it was just tragic. It was just sad.
And like, to be honest, right now, like, Mercedes can't even get on podium.
Yeah,
like
it's a miracle to get third at this point.
To be honest, and like at least last year,
what did they get this time? I know what's his name got ninth
and 8th.
What's his name?
Russell.
Oh,
Lewis.
You know what? You honestly think I would call that man what's his name? Come on,
girl. Huh?
Lewis got 9th, and I believe.
Girl, that's why I was confused. That's why I said what's his name.
Lewis got 9th. George got 8th, I believe.
I love this revisionist history for you, though.
Anyway, yeah.
Listen, I have to be deluded enough to think that only Lewis will ever win.
That's real.
Those days have gone.
Those days have gone.
Ford was 7th. Sorry.
Hurts even more. Thanks for crushing your hopes even more.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
But as always, was it next week or next race?
Next race, China. Very exciting. This is the first time that we have been to China in a really long time. This is pre-COVID. Yeah. And it's also the first sprint race of the weekend. What's a sprint race?
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to remember because I know we took, and I didn't want to ask again.
So a sprint race is basically a shortened version of the regular race. It's 1/3 of the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So if a regular race is 60 laps, a sprint race will be 20 laps, so on and so forth. It will occur this time on Saturday. They've actually changed the sprint format this year again.
Mm-hmm.
And they've made it so that essentially all sprint activities take place on Saturday?
So practice, qualifying, and race?
Practice is not a sprint activity. Practice is just like attributed to the whole weekend.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bex, but I believe that we're looking at
Qualifier.
Sprint regular quali on
Friday.
On what?
Is it Friday?
It's not even. That's not this. Let me
look at
it.
It says sprint qualifier will take place on Friday.
Yes, and then the sprint is also on Friday.
There you go.
That thing's tripping me up. So the sprint is also on Friday. And then the rest of the weekend will go how it normally goes.
And that's next week, right?
That is...
Or the week after.
The 19th through the 21st.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I think, very interesting. Because this is like the third way that they've done sprint formatting. Like they've changed it every year we've had it. So I think this will like make a lot of people happier because they're like not. So the main gripe people have with sprint weekends, besides the fact that they think they're unnecessary, is that they the way that they were doing it, where you had practice and then you had regular qualifying and then you had sprint qualifying, like they were mixed up on the same day or something.
Mm-hmm.
Your car had to be in what's called parc fermé, which is basically like secured parking for all intents and purposes. Like you can't touch it. Like almost the whole weekend. So you had one practice session to get your car set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you found anything that you wanted to change, you couldn't change it.
Why?
Because you can't change your car in parc fermé. Them's the rules.
But what's the purpose of it?
The purpose of it is so you don't overwork on the car.
Oh.
Yes, so you're not literally having your people in there all the time. It's not just a matter of, okay, which team, kills their employees. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't make limitless changes to your car over the weekend.
No, yeah, that part makes sense. It's just the whole, like, you can't touch it at all. Like, there's no time when you could possibly.
Park for me is like, to my understanding, it's more of a symbolic thing at this point. I think there used to literally be a location where you would put the cars and they would stay under lock and key. At this point, I'm pretty sure that it's like, okay, they're under parc ferme, so when we inspect them before you go home today, and when we inspect them in the morning, there can't be any changes.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. I could be wrong, and they literally do still keep them in the garage, but I do not think so.
Okay. I'm like, why y'all? Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how it'll pan out, and it will hopefully make it less of a thing for people to like dislike the format this way.
Well, hopefully it'll be a little interesting. I need a little zest in this F1 season.
Yeah, I know. We need to
it's getting dry.
I don't know.
Because I'm over here more excited to watch Drive to Survive than to watch.
I feel like sprint races usually kind of, there's at least the last few that I could recall, you kind of have like unlikely winners, or usually like, I think qualifying is usually interesting for the sprint races. I forgot one year it wasn't like, who was it? Was it Magnussen or Hulkenberg that got like?
It was Magnussen.pole.
Yeah, for like a sprint race.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
George.
Not in a Haas.
George won.
You heard me?
One of the sprint races last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oscar won a sprint. George won a sprint race in 2022.
Okay.
Oscar won a sprint race in 2023.
There you go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, maybe sometimes they're interesting. They're just
It sounds like it'll be fun.
a little bit of that. I
Yeah,
would say
so I'm looking forward to it.
the only thing for me is the timing of
Oh,
Shane
Lord.
Runway. I'm not.
What's wrong?
It's like at 3 a.m.
Yeah, so sprint qualifying is at 3:30 EST. The sprint is at 11 EST. Regular qualifying is at 3 EST, and the race is also at 3 EST. So,
Yeah.
I'll be awake, but I'll be suffering.
Yeah, but luckily the week after we get a reprieve.
Oh, yeah, we're finally back to the rest of the calendar year, I believe, is times that are like reasonable.
Yeah.
I think the worst of it left is Vegas, which is ironic considering it's in our own country and it's like kind of harrowing to still watch. Like I have
What
watched
time
Vegas.
is the Vegas?
Like midnight.
1 a.m. for me or something.
Yeah, it's midnight for us.
Jesus. Why
So,
are
like-
they racing in the middle of the night?
Because it's the strip. We want it to be done. We want to the glitz and the glamour.
so it's
I mean,
racing at
realistically,
night,
it does have to be
10
like-
o'clock at night in Vegas on a Saturday night.
Yeah. So, like, realistically, it does have to be pretty late for temperature reasons, but, like,
I also
True.
thought too, it also played into viewing time in Europe as well.
yes, they do prioritize if the European viewers will be able to like, view it at a decent time.
That's not fair.
Because
Yeah, I agree. I think priority order should go people in that country, then the
Mhm.
Europeans. Like, I get it. You're a European-owned company. You're kind of prioritize the Europeans.
But
But also, the whole shtick of the only justification for the Vegas Grand Prix, in my mind, is your attempt to break into the American market. A really great way to do that would be to not have Americans have to choose between a social life and watching the Vegas thing.
well, the thing is that I think that they expect it to become part of our social life like it is a part of theirs.
no,
But like theirs is different. There's like a Sunday afternoon chill vibe.
Mhm.
You know, you have your friends over for a little bit of cassoulet and having a
Not-
Chinese.
Not cassoulet and a Chinese. What the
Right?
hell?
You're having a little Chinese. Whereas for us, Saturday night, like you're actually doing things for someone
Yeah.
anyway. So it's not the same,
it's weird.
Oh,
But
well.
yeah, this one's going to be the hardest one. I think also, I was kind of looking at time. I think Azerbaijan is another one that might be a little difficult. It's like 6. It's not horrible, but it's pretty early for me. But anyway. But yeah, so next week will be a hard one. I'm going to do my best. But if I'm on
Don't worry, baddies. I'll be awake. I'll be watching it in live time.
Yeah, I'm going to try and at least get some let me see if I can get qualify in sprint and see what I can do.
Yeah.
On the other side.
I'll be awake anyway.
Yeah. So, but we have a week off to recover.
Exactly. And I don't know what we're going to do next week. We'll figure it out.
We'll go back to the iceberg.
I was saying, you want to hit up
Lord.
Mercedes next week?
Oh, Lord. We could do
No, I feel like
Mercedes
Mercedes
next week.
needs.
You want to do Mercedes over the summer break?
Yeah, I think that'd be a perfect time to do Mercedes. That'd be a perfect time. You need to have, and it may even need to be broken up into parts.
Maybe I'll talk to you about F1 internet culture instead.
Ooh.
That could be a fun one. We can talk about the Lech Fosse, the Sainz Rari, all of it.
The what and the who?
You'll find out in the F1 internet culture deep dive.
Sure, let's do it. I guess I'm just on for the ride here with you two.
Of course.
All right,
baddies. Well, we always
do you have an
close
outro
this out.
question for us?
I do have an outro question for you. So we talked a little bit about Real Housewives of Potomac on a past pod, and we have recently discovered that I recently discovered that Candace is leaving Real Housewives of Potomac.
She needed to.
My messy queen is departing from us.
She needed to.
She did need to. And so my question for you is, what F1 driver would you have replaced Candace
No.
on Real Housewives of Potomac?
Didn't we already discuss?
We said what F1 driver we want to be on our favorite reality TV show.
Yeah. That's what it was. Okay.
But now I'm saying, make one of the F1 drivers a housewife. Main housewife on Potomac. Who's it going to be? Who can serve not today now?
I feel like
I don't know. I
Alfonso
want like a
diabolical.
switch though.
Alfonso's hilarious.
Yeah.
He didn't
Diabolical.
Alonso.
Not Alfonso.
What'd I say?
He said Alfonso.
My bad.
Anyway, I agree. I would also pick Alonso. Just because I think that he would get messy with it, you know?
I don't know this, but I also feel like, I'm not the biggest fan, but I also think that like a Max Verstappen wouldn't be
The Flying Dutchman?
wouldn't be too bad on a.
Oh my god, his intro? What would they make his intro be?
I hate taglines. I would never. Good. I don't know. What's a good tagline for Mac?
I think it would be like something, but cream always rises to the top.
Ew.
I think it would be something like that. And that would be
Ew. Not cream rises to the top.
Yeah, I mean something like that. But yeah, I think Max could be. I think the issue with Candace was that she was just a little bit on 10.
the time. I love that about her.
And I think here's okay. Just stepping away from F1 for a second. Let me get into my Potomac pack real quickly. I think the issue with Candace is Candace would usually she had valid points, but sometimes Candace's delivery like where it's almost to the point where you're missing the message.
Yeah.
And she just never quite. She's someone who's so emotional, and that is such like, especially when you see like Giselle. Like I think Giselle, like I have my own issues with Giselle, and I think she can be problematic. But Giselle, she's not really going to like. She's pretty much dead center. She's not giving you too much emotion either way. Like I think this reunion was like the most snarky we've seen her at a reunion ever. Like usually at a reunion she's on mute and she just would like she lets people take their licks and she kind of keeps it pushing. But like Giselle is very even keeled, which is interesting. But in the face of like Candace, who's like emotional and crying and cursing someone out, like it doesn't land with someone who's very much,
Mm-hmm. I think I'm sad about Candace because I started off watching Potomac and I hated Candace. I hated her so bad. I was a Monique stan, 10 toes down in the trenches for Monique.
Yeah.
So me and Candace were never on the same page. And then once Monique left, I saw her for what she was, which is great television.
Yeah.
And so now I'm sad. And I hope that this next season can give me something. Like, I can't watch, Juan Dixon cheating the show.
Well,
and now that they're gone, but
oh
also Candace is gone. I'm like, well, dang, what are we gonna talk about?
The only thing
I wonder who they're gonna bring in.
The only thing for me, like, I'm kind of like glad about is that I think this is what the show needed. It was getting really messy. It was getting really dark. It wasn't fun like it used to be. And Potomac was, funny enough, the cream of the crop when it came to housewife shows, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it just
both of the great have fallen.
They were thinking very quickly for me. And so, like, I hope with Candace gone and now Robin gone that they're going to shake up the cast. What's her name needs to leave too? Is it Nneka?
Nneka needs to go.
She needs to go. She brought nothing and did everything.
She brought nothing. She just raised Africans everywhere. She needs to go.
Wait, was she lying?
I think she's lying.
I think so.
But even if she's not lying, it's like you're providing secondhand.
Yeah.
You're coming hot on secondhand beef.
Yeah.
You weren't even there for the beef that you're dying behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the thing is for me, like, I'll be intrigued to see Giselle without Robin.
Yes.
So, like,
Maybe she'll improve.
Like it's going to be an Ashley and Giselle thing. But only thing is, Ashley kind of knows how good TV is. Like, how good TV is.
Yeah. Oh, Ashley
knows how to play each team. When, like, remember last season, she was like, I'm not going to leave Wendy out. And she really, and it was kind of like a switch from her usual nonsense stuff that she did. She was actually being reasonable and level-headed. When, like, they were trying to isolate Wendy. I think she kind of realized it was like, this isn't going to be good TV if all of us are against Wendy. So she kind of knew, let me scamper onto this quote-unquote team. And, and then this year she's been kind of playing the heel a little bit. And
again?
So, like, yeah, I just really, I actually really good TV.
Ashley is really good TV.
She and Candace were a little bit whatever, but but Ashley was good TV as well. And so I'll be intrigued to see how she and Giselle, how they move this next season.
For sure. I feel like I sense, like, especially with the GNA, I sense like a little freaking frack action happening between the two of them. And I feel like Giselle kind of already knew that Robin was leaving. Or that Robin wasn't going to be staying long.
I don't think so. I think she... No, I definitely think she didn't know that Robin.
No, not that she, like, knew, but that she had, like, an inkling that, like, Robin's probably not going to be in this much longer.
I don't know. I think that's a big leap. But I do know that I feel like Giselle is a producer's pet.
I can get with that.
I feel like, because I remember Giselle made like a comment like, oh, I thought this would be handled. Something along those lines on the reunion. And to me, it feels like she kind of expected Candace to either be, her feet held to the fire of some of the comments she made, or, Candace fired. I don't know. That's just my inkling.
Well, you know what? I think we're just going to have to find out, honestly, because, stuff is going to come out now that the reunion has aired. So we'll just have to wait and see. But with that, we will wrap it up for the night. Af dropped off, so it's just me and Bex here saying good night, and we'll see you next week for, what did we say we were going to do next week?
I don't know. F1 103.
Who was it? We said it. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Bye.